Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever. Period.
Or
Y'all on board?
it just started.
Board. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever.
Ah,
Y'all on board?
bored as fuck. Bored as fuck. Another woman has gone home. Why is this season so anti-women? Why is this season so anti-black? I don't know. No, but like we said last time, the blacks and the women out, child. James and Carla, are they next? I fear. I don't know.
Child.
If you fail the brown paper bag test and if you have a vagina, bitch, you are not safe this season.
It ain't safe. It ain't safe.
It's not. And then it's like, and we're going to get into it, but it's very clear that they have no content at all to show. There is no game happening here, babe.
None. Child. So we start off the episode and we come back to the tribe and we get diary rooms from Cody. Cody talks about how there is a 7-person majority who voted together in this last tribal council. That is all of Coco, Cody and Jesse, and Sammy. And he was like, I was kind of gagged that Sammy voted with us, but hey, we here and we got a 7. So then we see Sammy speaking to Owen and Janine, and he's telling Owen and Janine, like, y'all, don't worry, like, I still got y'all back. I just had to do that because they told me that they were flipping, and I was like, oh, we don't have the vote, so fuck it. I'm gonna just vote with them. Like, we didn't have the votes anyways, and I gotta do what I gotta do. And honestly, if Sammy was talking to me, I would not trust Sammy. I wouldn't believe Sammy. I would look at him and be like, okay, and I guess in this moment, it literally doesn't matter because Owen and Janine are in the booty hole bottom. So
I think I'm kind of
no
confused. I'm confused in general about a lot of decision and choices. I think I mentioned this last time, like, to think that Sammy would be loyal to him when he's the sole Baka that's working with y'all, to think that he's not working with Gabler, Janine, and Owen is just delusional in my opinion. But clearly, I guess he's not tied to them too much because he's definitely willing to vote one of them out if need be. But it's just like, I don't know, like, it seems like, it definitely seems like everything is out in the open. But then when they come time to do the votes, it's a whole different story. Because how Janine was seen as the biggest threat by the end of this episode, I don't know.
I don't know.
Like, it's like, and I know we mentioned this before too, it's really like all of the players who were considered good this season, they're not going after each other at all. And they're taking out the players that they're claiming to be some form of threats. Like, even Ryan's name got brought up as a threat this episode. And it's like, who are the real threats?
And that's the thing, and we'll get into it because, first of all, Khalil said the editing has me questioning their decision, and me too, because it's like, what's happening? I think at the end of the day, Janine going was good for like the better players. So I will say what has been consistent, in my opinion, is that the better players have been consistently making good decisions, in my opinion. Jesse, Carla, and James, I haven't seen one decision that I'd like necessarily disagreed with so far. Yes.
I honestly feel like the edit, especially these last 2 episodes, is 100% based on them not having anything to show. These last 2 episodes, we've gotten a lot of filler, a lot of background moments, a lot of character moments, and not a lot of game. They saved the game for after the challenge, after the immunity challenge, and it's like 20 minutes. And I think what they were trying to do, really specifically this episode, is turn a very simple vote into something that could be interesting. So they just slapped the edit together that seemed confusing when really Janine was going regardless. Because the way it kind of went all the way around just to end up back on Janine felt very unnecessary. And I feel like they did the exact same thing to Dwight. It was just like, it was just Dwight. Why are we jumping all of these other hoops? Like, I don't know. It's just random.
Honestly, and I think that at the end of the episode, we get to Tribal and Jeff starts asking them a lot of questions. And Jeff likes to ask questions because he knows the true answer of it, in my opinion, because he'll always ask the person going home like a specific. It's like, girl, you knew why you asked that. And I think, and I know Tribal's at the end of the episode, but I'm gonna talk about it now. When Jeff asks Gabler, what is the energy, the social energy of this season? Because each season is something different. I think he knew it was getting boring. And he was like, let's explain it a little. And honestly, like I was telling Lee, I was like, honestly, I get the explanation. Essentially, Gabler was like, this is a social season. This is a season about relationships. So he feels like that the way that the tribe is setting up is that if you have relationships, you'll be good. And I was telling Lee, I was like, that makes sense because if it was a strategic season, I feel like there's no way James, Carla, and Jesse are besties, how they are currently. And it kind of proves that, first of all, they're all very social players in general. And I feel like it just proves that this season is just based on social gameplay more so than strategic gameplay. And that's boring to watch, especially because Survivor and Big Brother, these shows don't know how to edit social gameplay. Social gameplay is not something you edit. Honestly, I would have preferred this episode if they and they did dive into Carla and Jesse's relationship a little bit, but I would have preferred it if they dived into diary rooms about, for example, if we had like a montage or even just a few segments of how Carla says, I'm really cool with Jesse, and I don't think I ever want to vote Jesse out. And then Jesse say, I really love James. I don't think I ever want to. I would have preferred if they edited it that way, but I don't think Survivor.
And instead of putting that in, they're putting in a lot of character moments and things like that from people who really don't have a big part of the episode. I don't know if they're going to have a big part of the season later on, because earlier in this episode, we got a lot from Owen. And I feel like it was a lot of background on him and just him personally. And like someone said, that's setting him up for a winner edit. But it's interesting how it literally had zero to do with the episode in a way, like considering who went home. It's like, I thought this was going to be the big turning moment. Everyone's going to turn against this big majority. That's literally how they set it up, just for that not to happen, literally at all. And it's like, it makes me think it's just like, maybe they feel like there's no point in showing it, all of this other stuff, because the end decision is the most basic ever. But hey,
it's like I think they're struggling showing a different kind of gameplay, and this cast simply is full of social players, and I don't think they know how to edit social players. Like, they really don't. Like, shout out to Michelle Fitzgerald. Michelle Fitzgerald game looked whack as fuck because they put they gave Aubrey damn near a winner edit, and it's like only because they didn't know how to edit Michelle's game. They didn't know how to show that she was social, because when you watch that season, it seems like Michelle is a flop, but it's not that she's a flop. She's just not strategic. And it's okay to play and not be strategic. Mary Ann wasn't necessarily the most strategic player out there. She was mostly social maneuvering past bigger players. And
I think the issue
edited as Omer being the head honcho, and then said, oh, Mary Ann took him out, so that's why she won. It's like, you could have gave Mary Ann her gots a little bit more, but we moved.
But even in general, I feel like it's not even necessarily that. Because you're right. I think it's hard for people to show social game in general. It's just like the issue is with everyone playing kind of that social game. It's even harder to show, I feel like, because social is really just people liking you. You really can't gauge how much people just enjoy you being there on a normal basis. But let me finish. There's not like what really moves, I feel like, the game of Survivor along with get people interested is the schemes, the turning behind people's back, the plans to get someone out. And I feel like we saw a lot of attempts of that this season, like specifically this episode with Sammy. And then we don't see any outcome further from that. And I think that's what's making this season also seem a little bit more of a bore, because there really isn't that person that's active in making these plans and moving pieces in the game, which I think is just getting stale at this point, child.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree in this point that what makes Survivor, move people and move the game is the strategicness. I do think that does happen. However, for example, if they were editing these last two episodes in a way that they showed Carla, James, and Jesse's social relationships, battling it out, showing multiple people saying they like Carla, multiple people saying they like Jesse, multiple people saying they like James. If they edited it like that, it would be more interesting. I would be like, who is going to win? I don't even care about who's going to win of the three, because they're not editing it in that way. They're not editing it in that way at all.
Because neither of the three could even win. That's the thing. They're set up the best socially, and neither one of them could end up being the winner here. And I just think that's kind of the point I'm making. They can't just have, because that's the thing. We have a lot of situations where we just show social moments. I find those boring. If they showed me a bunch of Carla talking to people, Jesse talking to people, Cersei talking to people, it's interesting here and there. But if we were to see that back to back to back, which I feel like we've just been seeing a lot of those social character moments, it gets boring. It really gets stale. It does. I want to see live tribals. I want to see the girls. Like, I want to see something just a little bit more spicy, and instead of them trying to force it into the edit, because that's what it's like they're trying to do.
It is, and that's the thing. I'm just saying, since they don't have that, they don't have anything. At least build up a story, and I feel like they're not. I feel like they're just showing bullshit, like random shit. Random Ryan is fishing, when you could be showing the actual players, no shade, doing actual whatever game Carla is playing, just show it, because we see everybody go to Carla and spill their tea, and we haven't gotten shown in the jury segment why. But let's move on. So, after Janine is told by Sammy that he voted with the other people, Janine has a diary room and she says, "Now my idol is gone because I gave Dwight my idol and now I'm fucked." So she starts crying to Sammy, and this is when we see Sammy kind of tell everybody that her idol's gone. So Sammy tells Noelle that Janine's idol's gone, and Noelle starts telling everybody, because Noelle got a big mouth. One thing about Noelle is she gonna tell it. Everybody. Love that.
It really sucks for Janine because people have clarified since the last party that apparently Jeff has stated once he starts reading the vote, you cannot do any intermingling of the idols or anything like that. Which I just feel like, why the fuck not? Especially since the rule is it has to be read before the votes are read. Him passing her damn idol while votes are being read, I don't see how that affects the game in any way. Because that also means that if I get voted out and I have an idol that I didn't know I was going home, I can't just get out to Pharaoh, my closest ally. Why not? And the thing is about Survivor is that annoys me is that they have twists, like for example, they use it in the Winners at War, like, oh well, when they get out of the game, I can give my token to this person so they can play this type of advantage or something like that. And it's like I just feel like they do certain things where it's like it feels like, of course trading advantages could be allowed, and then they have other rules that just are against it. I just think it's just like weird in that way. Like I don't see any reason not to be able to trade it after.
It's just a little unfair because, in my opinion, it's a little unfair because Dwight now has the knowledge that he's going home. Then he gives her the idol, and I feel like that part is unfair because it's like, now I know I'm going home, so I can play this game after I know I'm going home, and it's kind of like, well, that's a little bit of bullshit because let me tell you, let's because you're giving the idol back. That's a part of the game, and he knows he's going home now.
But in this situation, it's her idol. Like in this situation,
it doesn't matter whose idol.
But that's the thing. It's like at the end of the day, like I don't know. I don't think it. First of all, the rules is not clear enough because when you're in the game and you have an idol, you're not able to like take someone else's idol. Like it doesn't become someone else's property. So I just feel like in this situation, if that's her idol that we know she's passing over to him, why is he able to essentially get out of the game with something that's hers? Like she found it.
It's not his idol though. When you give someone your idol, when you willingly give someone your idol in Survivor,
but that's the thing. Idol. But that's annoying because they don't do the same with, I feel like, advantages in that same way. Because I feel like I remember back in Cerise season when she tried to play Sarah's advantage, she wasn't even able to play it because it was not her advantage. So I just feel like I don't like how the rules of Survivor they change in different situations. Like I don't know. I feel like that was because in my mind that means in my opinion Jesse shouldn't even, because we get revealed that Jesse has the idol, but it's just like, well, is that not Janine's
but that's always been the rule of the idols. I do get it because the reason Sari thought she could play Sarah's advantage is because the rules of idols have always been, if you give it to someone willingly, it's now theirs. So that's why Sari in the first place thought it was hers, because that's what the rules of idols. So I see why it's stupid, because why does every advantage have a different rule that you have to remember? And
but I don't think that I really do not think that affects the game too much. Like if I give, like if even if it wasn't her idol, like if it's my idol, it's my idol. I can do what the fuck I want to do with it. If I want to give it to my ally, I should be able to play it with my ally. That could be
that takes away the entirety of people flushing idols. Flushing idols has been a big part of the game since idols have been created. That will no longer exist because you can't flush an idol because they'll just give it to the next person. And then it's kind of a little fucked for, let's say you're in the minority. Let's say you're in the minority and you find a way to play your idol correctly. Like let's say when Kelly Wentworth played her idol correctly and they got out Andrew Savage. If Andrew Savage had an idol, his idol's still in the game with the majority alliance. So now he just gives it to Jeremy. The majority alliance now has 5 idols. And it's like, well, damn. Now it kind of makes it harder for minority people to succeed, because even in Millennials versus Jeanette, or was that David versus Goliath, when they did the minority split vote with that idol, if the person they voted out had an idol, he just gives it to the majority. Boom. They have no way to win. Nick would not have won that season, because you can now give your idols back. So that, I don't know. It's hard. It's a difficult conversation.
Yeah. My only argument is just that I don't like the rule changes. Like, why are some advantages you can transfer, some are not? It's annoying.
Yeah.
I just think it's all annoying.
Yeah. No, it is. It definitely is. So we see that Jesse has the idol because Dwight panicked and gave Jesse that girl's idol before he left. So now Jesse is in possession of that idol, and Jesse currently still has Cody's idol because Cody has not asked for it back yet. So at this moment, Jesse has two idols technically.
Her King Daddy.
Because that's the thing. Like now they are technically, by the rules of Survivor, Jesse's idol. So Jesse literally has two idols as of now until he willingly gives one back to Cody, possibly. And we have to explain that because they're so confusing. So the next day, we see Jesse and Carla have a deep conversation about their heritage and speaking Spanish. And they were all like trying to speak Spanish, and Owen was saying some words. And then Jesse started telling a story about how when he was a kid, he was trying to speak Spanish to his family members and he had to learn it. And this is when we hear Owen speak about how he was adopted. So we get a backstory from Owen. Owen was adopted by two white parents, and he had to try to teach himself how to speak Korean, I believe. Yes, Korean. And he says that he feels like in this game, he wants to blame himself for being left out of the votes. He's like, I got left out of 2 votes. That's my fault. And it just feels like I'm begging people to work with me and they don't want to work with me. And I get that happens like in Survivor a lot. Like it just seems like you're shut out. It happens in Big Brother too. But I don't know. Like I feel like in Survivor when it happens, it doesn't seem as personal as it does in Big Brother. And Big Brother kind of feels like personal. It feels like, boy, people just hate you. I feel like in this situation, Owen just got in a sticky position, to be honest. Like, just so happened he's not in the majority. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But there's another reason why I feel like Owen has a good chance of being like someone near the final or even winning, because Owen has so many random moments where we just see like, you know, his backstory, his point of view, his outlook on everything, him narrating what's happening in the merge. And it's like, it's so crazy that we have so many moments like that from him, but we haven't seen him succeed in the game at all. Damn near. Like I was telling Farrell before the podcast, I feel like Owen's edit so far reminds me of Michelle, especially if he were to win, because I feel like with Michelle, we saw a lot of her being outside of alliances, not being really included in a lot of things. And we always see her point of view. Even though it seemed like her game was going so negative, we always see a kind of positive viewpoint from her about her experience and how she's still in it and how she's still trying. And I feel like we're getting a lot of that from Owen, because since episode 1, Owen has been in a bad position and has been talked about as someone you don't want to work with and things like that. So the fact that they took this moment, this episode, to say that again, and he doesn't even go home. He does win the immunity, which is huge. But I don't think he was even really necessarily in that big of a danger to go home if he wasn't going to win it, to be honest. But well,
I guess Janine did go home, and their first person was Owen, and they were like, since Owen won Janine, so he probably would have been out.
He probably would have been out. That is a gag. But I also feel like just in general, like they take a lot of moments to do that for Owen.
They do a lot. He definitely has like winner edit tease. So after this, Owen speaks to Noelle and Janine, and he's basically like, yeah, Jesse and Cody were probably threatened by Dwight, so that's why they flipped. Real cute. And then we see Janine talk about how, okay, it's the 3 of us in Gable. So that's 4. We need 6 to get a chance to, we need 6 to win the vote. So all we have to do is flip 2 people and we're good. So they all talk about how the 7 probably isn't that strong and we need to flip 2 people and try to get these votes and woo. So that's where we leave that at. Then we see James, Jesse, Cassidy, and Carla talk about how they can all go to the 7. The 7 people who voted last episode are Jesse, James, Cody, Cassidy, Carla, Ryan, and Sammy. The 7 of them could be a powerhouse and they could take us to the end. So that's kind of what they all talk about. And they talk about this throughout the episode, like over and over and over again, because there's no content to show.
They literally have nothing else.
No content to show, no shade. And hey, I guess we get what we can get. So they talk about who the vote should be, and they talk about maybe it should be a challenge threat. So they're thinking Owen, because of those people. Honestly, they probably should have thought Gabler. Like, I don't know. That was weird a little bit. Yeah, like Gabler has won. He just won an immunity. But they were saying Owen maybe. And you know what? They may not think Gabler is with them. Because it's kind of like Janine, Owen, and who else? That girl. And then Gabler on the outside or whatever. So James is the main one who wants to do Owen. James has a diary room and says that Owen voted him 2 times. He does not trust Owen. He needs Owen to go ASAP. period. And then we get to a scene change, and we get filler again, y'all. Carla's talking about a dream. They're talking about food, and you know what? I'm not even gonna get into it. We skip.
It's a bunch of irrelevant ass shit. It really is. Like, I guess social icon Queen Carla. But that's what I'm saying. It's like this is
show it in a different way. I feel like showing it in this way gives us no tease. Like, when I watched it, I wanted to skip. If they showed it and they had a diary room from every person in that circle saying I love Carla so much, I would actually kind of gag. Okay, that would have been good editing, because it was like, ooh. And then if they showed the next scene, or if they showed the scene when Jesse and Owen were talking about Jesse learning Spanish, and they showed everybody saying, oh my God, I love Jesse, I can relate to him so much. Then we had this scene about Carla, oh my God, I love Carla, I can relate to her so much. I would be like, ooh, we got a challenge, we got a competition. But we don't have none of that. We have her talking about her dream, the girls gag, and then we move along.
And the scene switched. And it's like, okay.
Thanks? I don't know. So we get some information from Ryan. And Ryan says that he wants to be a provider, and he feels like he's really good at being a provider, even though he has his story about having cerebral palsy. Mm-hmm. And this is when we get a scene from Gabler and Ryan. And Gabler mentions that he doesn't necessarily want Ryan to go because Ryan provides food. And we need somebody to provide food. Very simple shit. This is like Survivor 1.
101, girl. We're back in
Survivor Africa, baby.
1 through 5.
Survivor Borneo. I fear. We're in Borneo days, I guess. So
drop the 4 and leave the 1.
Literally. So Carla, Sammy, and Cody, they talk about the 7 again. But this time, Sammy is having a diary room, and he says, they think I'm with them, but they gotta go ASAP. Mm-hmm. And
this is the same thing Sammy did with that Ellie girl on his tribe. See, Sammy, and I really like him because he even says it here, like, I'm here to win. I'm not here to be someone's little puppet. I'm not here to just let other people make moves. I'm here to make decisions that are going to get me to win. And I really just like that because I think too many people are just so busy with being complacent, being providers and things like that, and really missing out on what they're here for. And I feel like with him being the youngest out there, he's only 19. And being so, I just think, on when it comes to like the, in my opinion, strategy socially, it's like he's really on top of it. Now, does it play out fully? We're going to get into, not really. But, you know, I do think that he has just the drive. Like, I feel like I see in him what I want to see more in people this cast. Like, there's not a lot of, I feel like, fight and just hunger for the win. And I see that with Sammy.
I see it for Sammy, too. I also like Sammy. So Sammy says this is when you decipher the good players from the great players. The good players survive. The great players thrive. Did he thrive?
He survived.
He survived. But we'll see how next episode comes along. So the immunity challenge, we get to the immunity challenge. The immunity challenge is balancing the ball on the pole. Boring like the episode. I'm so sorry. Boring just like the episode. So they have to balance the ball on the pole. But the gag is that we're doing the right shit again. So Jeff is like, even though we dropped the 4 and left the 1 only 2 seasons ago, we already have staples. And one of the staples is, you know how we let y'all starve? Y'all could maybe starve a little less. But 5 of y'all have to sit out the immunity challenge. And he says, that's all I'm going to do. And James is like, I mean, 4? And Jeff's like, 5 this season. 5 or nothing. And then next time, I won't even accept 5. It'll go up. So good luck. So they're basically told they can only do 5. The last 2 seasons got to negotiate. I feel like that was the good part about it. No shade.
But that's the only interesting part about it, them being able to negotiate. Like, I just think, like I said, it's really, honestly, it's getting lazy. Because the fact that y'all had 3rd season in a row and we're still repeating the same shit that really don't move me in any way. Like, oh my God, 5 got to side out this round. Whoa. I don't know. I'm just not gagged. I'm not.
You know what they should have did? This is gonna seem crazy. I don't know why I just thought of it. My ADHD. Let's say everybody plays, and no one's dropped yet. He brings out the rice. He says, "If someone wants to drop, you can get this rice or whatever." Right? Let's say no one wants to drop. Somebody drops. So let's say Janine drops first. Jeff could be like, "Janine, how about this? I'll let you choose someone to be out of this challenge." And then if you accept, this was bad. And I don't know what I was thinking. But the gag is, I feel like he should incorporate it with the challenge instead of separating it totally from the challenge and then not having it be a thing at all. I liked when they used to tease them. Like they would be in the challenge, playing the challenge. You have to drop out. Instead, they're not even playing it. So, anyways, girl, the people who decide to sit out, and it happens very quickly.
Cause I mean, I just think like the whole. I remember when they first did the whole New Era thing, like having them starve a little bit more, making it faster. It's like, is that necessary? Is that mean? Because at this point, they're not even editing it in no more. Like they're not even talking about how they're hungry. I didn't know they were starving. I forgot that they only had one price.
That was the Carla conversation. That's why they showed the Carla conversation, because they started talking about food. But we didn't listen to that, babe.
It was boring.
We were bored. Like, I don't know. I don't know. So, anyways, and I honestly, I do think there's a way to edit every season. Interestingly, I think it's the editing. I'm sorry, I think it's the editing.
I don't think they have much to go off on.
That's true. And I feel like we could be seeing the players' thoughts more. We don't know what Jesse's thinking, or Carla, or James at all. I'm gonna keep saying. I'm gonna beat a dead horse. Do something quick. So, the girls start dropping. So James and Sammy, they say they don't want to play very fast. And as they're asking other people to step up, Carla and Jesse step up. And of course, Carla, Jesse, James, and Sammy step up because they're the 4 best players in the cast, I fear. They're the 4 best players. They're also probably the 4 best positioned. So the 4 of them step up. And James is like, Owen, you're good. Come on. And Owen literally ignores him, does not say anything. And then eventually Cassidy steps up, and Cassidy is in the 5th best position after those 4. So it's like the people in the 5 best positioned people side out of the challenge.
Why did James play an Owen face like that?
That was crazy.
That's probably what he's talking about in the preview. Because in the preview, he says the next episode, he's like, he lied to my face. Maybe we'll talk about this, because your ass is definitely going home, babe. You are not good.
So Jeff kind of clocked how fast they agree. He was like, that was fast. What are y'all feeling? Y'all are feeling good? Y'all are feeling safe? And they're just like, we just really need rice. And it's like, no, y'all are feeling safe. And that's what else made this boring, is the fact that because the season is set up in this way, the 5 of them were safe. None of them went home, and none of them got a vote. Literally. The vote was between Ryan and Janine. So it's like, who gives a fuck? So we get to the challenge, and you all got to balance the ball on a pole or whatever. The people playing are Cody, Ryan, Gabler, Noel, Owen, and Janine. You have to add a section every 5 minutes. So they started off adding a section, and they were all good. So they were all holding on to it. It was easy at this point. Me, I probably would have fell out. I'm hungry, starving, hot, sweaty,
I definitely would have opted out very quickly. Majority of Lions are not.
Opted out, like I fear. So, they add another section. Janine and Noel drop. So it's all the men. So it's Gabler, Ryan, Owen, and Cody. So they add another section. Gabler drops. It's Owen, Ryan, and Cody. And it's like, is this a flashback? Because wasn't Owen, Cody, and Gabler at the end of the last challenge where you had to
And who went home? Okay.
So they all managed. Ryan drops. It's Cody versus Owen. Cody drops. Owen was immunity. Yay. Y'all, I don't know how I could explain that more entertainingly. So sorry. Yeah. Owen won immunity, which is kind of a gag, because Owen was the vote that they initially intended on voting, but it was very quick where they were like, well, I mean, it can't be him, so it has to be. That's the thing about Survivor, is if there is a set and stone minority, it's very easy if they don't have an idol. And they did have an idol, but Janine gave it away. And that's the thing. This episode would have been 30 times better if Janine's idol didn't get given away, but it got given away because of another advantage, which is the knowledge of power advantage, which is an OP advantage, which is why she had to give her idol away. And
so now the majority of the day, the issue is the advantages.
Period. And this is why, girl, we move. So back at camp, Owen has a diary room, and the diary room means nothing. And this is why Owen probably is going to win, but I'm not going to be too fond at this point in the game. I'm not going to be too happy that Owen won, because he has a diary room. He says, I'm safe and I'm in a bad position, so I need to work to get out of it. And then we see him do nothing.
Yep.
Literally, we see him literally do nothing.
And this is where, and I think this is where disconnect comes in. And honestly, I forgot that he was an initial target, because, we don't get much from him after that, him forging his own future. That's why I just like, it's so weird that we have those character moments, but then we don't see him back any of that up with gameplay at all. So I'm just like, is he a sleeper winner here? Like, is he like an I don't know, because like we get so much from him, and nothing we've seen from him on game wise has been positive, has been something that is going to lead him to be the winner of this season. But I mean, we keep seeing him for a reason.
Maybe he can sell his story, kind of like Michelle.
I think he can, though. I think that's definitely a plus. Like, I think he definitely can speak well.
I we'll see, girl. So after this, we see Ryan, James, and Gabler talk. Ryan says that Janine should just go because we can't vote Owen. So then we see Ryan go around telling everyone that Janine should just go. And the issue with this season, I feel, is that because most players are not playing strategically, they're playing socially, we get moments like this where Ryan is the leader of the vote. This never would, no offense to Ryan, but it's not common that someone who's not in the best position in the game is
because you know why? We're still stuck on the first thing that gets set out is the vote. Mainly.
And y'all, and what I will say, I'm sorry. What I will say, this could be the Shan effect. This could be, we just saw Shan eat it up and go home. We're not going to be Shan.
Well, they didn't get to see Omer yet because they left before.
But they got half. They got half of Omer, and they got to, I think, in the middle of Merge. And Omer, by the middle of Merge, was eating it up too, but they don't know that he went home. Yeah. But it's like, it could be the Shan effect. I say it could be the Shan, not just Shan. Because you got to remember, in that season, the heavy hitters were Evie got out, Shan got out, and Ricard got out. And they saw all of that. So they could be thinking we have to play like, who won that season? Erica. We have to be
a little bit more under the radar.
Under the radar.
And I guess that definitely does make sense.
And I will say, honestly, I think the way Jesse, James, and Carla are playing is smarter than the way that Shan played. Technically, like
it's definitely way more boring.
It's way more boring. If I had to rate them as players, I would probably rate Jesse, Ryan, and Carla 3 of the best of this new era. Honestly, because they're playing so meticulously, so subtly.
Well, definitely,
it's not fun to watch. It's not fun to watch. Coming back, it would be nice because I think all of them would be way more.
They'd have to be 100%, and that's why I really. Side note, I cannot wait till a returning season of this new era of players because they're gonna come in real nasty.
Drea, hi. James.
It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be nasty.
Ricard.
It's gonna be nasty, girl. I feel like every tribal gonna be a live tribal. Fuck you, man. But that's how, like I said, I keep saying it's like, this is a boring season. Because why ain't no damn live tribals? That's how you know when it's boring.
But that's it picks up.
Girl, at this point,
it has to be top 8. It has to pick up because I don't see Jesse letting James and Carla get in there. I don't see James letting James. I don't see Carla.
We gonna see.
We gonna see.
We gonna see.
And Sammy, I think the more people who go home, it's only going to end up with the actual players, and they're not going to let themselves go home. That's the thing. One thing I have seen is that when it's one of the heavy hitters going to go home,
and you know what? Carla got idol, and Jesse got 2. So,
girl,
it's real nasty.
And if Jesse just gives it back to Cody, Cody has one, Jesse has one, and Carla has one, and they finna be in the top 6 probably together.
It's gonna get nasty.
The end gonna end up with a Sari. It's gonna be a Sari at the end. Oh my god. I
just think what's like so annoying, and I said this before, like I don't understand, like the people who are going home, it's none of the actual threats. Like when they're speaking about voting them out, they're like, oh, this person's a huge threat, this person's a huge threat. How is Janine, a girl who just lost her idol and her number one ally, a threat in any way? She hasn't beaten any challenges. She hasn't proven to be a big social threat. She hasn't headed any votes or eliminations. And it's like, why is she the voter? Gabler was an option. This is where it starts getting real. Like, okay.
That's a good segue because that's the reason they started wavering towards Ryan a little bit. We see in these next couple of scenes, essentially, Sammy is like, no, I want to run the game, so let me push Ryan. Sammy starts pushing Ryan, and it's easy to catch on because what Lee just said, Janine's not really a threat. So it's easy for Carla and James to be like, I mean, I guess because what the fuck? Why are we taking out Janine? Yeah, and that's the narrative that Cassidy pushes.
But see, this will piss me off too because it's like, why the fuck is Carla and James okay with taking out Ryan? I don't think that made sense for them at all. I will say Ryan has had that diary room in the past. If we have to go based off what the show has told us, that he is willing to flip on the Coco 4. That's what he has said going into the fake merge, not merge. But I think we've seen from his actions that this man is, one, not strategically that smart at this game at all. No one listens to him. No one takes him that serious. And he's not a beast at these challenges. He hasn't won any of the individual immunities. And then also, he is from y'all original Tribe Alliance. I don't know. Like, it's so weird because I'm not against them breaking the Tribe Alliances. I just feel like this season that they made so much more sense to stick with. And they're all choosing willingly to try and break them up. It makes no sense, in my opinion, for Carla and James to get out Ryan. I think Ryan is 1,000% more loyal to them than anyone else here. So I don't know. Maybe they're seeing something that I don't see. But I don't see how Ryan was even the adequate target here. Like, it just I don't know. None of this shit is making sense. It's really not.
It's really not.
So I really thought when Carla got this news, it was not gonna be Ryan. It was gonna switch. It end up switching, but not because Carla thought so. Carla wanted his ass out. So I don't know. I didn't think that was smart.
So what happens is that I think Jesse. And Jesse has, in my opinion, Jesse has come out on top a little more than Carla and James this season. Jesse was the one who controlled last vote. Jesse has 2 idols right now, and Jesse also is the one who mentions. Well, Cody mentions, but no shade. When Cody said, "Why are we taking out Ryan?" To me, I just heard Jesse say it. No shade, but it there's no way Jesse didn't agree with Cody in that moment. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Jesse told Cody, say this shit. And so Cody was like, why are we taking out what's it again? And to me, that was Jesse's move to save Ryan right now. And it's like, that was the smartest thing for everyone in the majority other than Sammy, in my opinion, because I don't think Ryan... What?
I thought you were going to say more to that. Did you basically just... You made the conclusion... Mm-hmm. That Cody saying it was Jesse's
1,000,000% Jesse.
But it's funny the way you said it, because it was like, I thought you were going to say, yeah, because we saw this scene and we thought, no. But it's like, no.
That was it. And I'm standing by it.
If that's fair to Cody, what if Cody actually just wanted Jenny? It didn't make sense to Cody.
If Cody just wanted it, I don't think he would have voiced it unless Jesse approved. Based on what we've seen. Cody literally said in the diary room, I trust Jesse the most. I want to do whatever he wants to do. Last episode, when Jesse said, I think we should just do it, he was like, okay, I agree. He just been hopping on, so I don't know.
I get that, but I don't think it's 100%
you think
his character. Oh, you think as well? What the fuck are you talking about?
Okay. I was gonna ask, you genuinely think that Jesse disagreed with Cody?
I'm not saying Jesse disagreed with Cody. I'm just saying the fact that you just basically was like, this is Jesse's move because Cody said it when Jesse didn't have anything to do with this a little bit. I just don't think we should.
It was Jesse's move.
Okay.
It was Jesse's move. It was Jesse's puppet's move. So it was Jesse's move.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you other than that. So now that kind of pushed James to pitch, let's say it was Cody. Cody pushed James to pitch to Carla and Cassidy that no, girl, maybe we should just go ahead and vote out Janine. Cassidy tried to push back very, very hard on this. Then we go to tribal council. Cassidy was essentially saying another girl going home is ridiculous. I trust James less than I trust Janine because James tried to throw my name out, and it's like we getting all this bullshit for no reason. So no shade, shade, but it was literally
none of it really matters.
So we get to tribal council, and at tribal council, Jeff asked them about the temperature of the season. And we already talked about this. Essentially, they conclude that the temperature of the season is about relationships. And I think it is true because we see that the people who are at the top of the season are the most social players. Carla, who we saw was social, Jesse, who we saw was social, and James, who we know is social. And I think that that's a testament to the fact that this season is just a more social season and it's less about strategy. And that's why we're getting these boring ass episodes, no shade. But girl, that's that. Let's go ahead and get into these ratings. I ain't got time to bullshit. I'm here. I get it. Oh, play. I get it. Oh, somebody went home and I didn't even. Let me go ahead and do that. So this episode, Janine went home. I put her at the bottom.
The bibbity bottom.
The bibbity bottom. What do you think of Janine as a player?
I feel like I really do like Janine. I feel like I feel like she was built up to have so much potential. I thought she could have potentially had a Marianne edit. You never really know. Losing the idol was really, really bad for her. I don't want to 100% put all that blame on her because she thought she was doing best to game the twist. And I can't say she was overthinking because, literally, you have to switch the events just to game the twist. I think it just sucks even more because the idol isn't actually out. It's in the game and she has no idea that it's in there. And, she just got it sucks because she was in the position that she just she was never able to play her own game because at first she got caught up in what Ellie was doing. Ellie went home. She didn't have much to go off on, and now she's out. You know what I mean? It really sucks because I do think she could do better than the position that she was in. Winning, I don't know. And that could just because of an age thing as well. She's still a little bit younger. Maybe she needs more experiences to be able to be more influential because it doesn't seem like she has that to her game. Like she seems like a social player, but she doesn't have much influence at all. And that's a big issue for her. I think I'm just saying it's a 3 for Janine. We never really got to see that shining moment, and I thought she was gonna have it. I really did, but hey, we here, child.
Yeah, I agree. It's. I'll give her a 3.5, and I'll give her a 3.5 because what we did get is a few moments of her clearly showing that she knew. I feel like she understood a lot of aspects of the game strategically, and I feel like to me that puts her as a player with potential. So I kind of just want to keep her a little bit higher than the 3, but honestly, it's we just didn't get proof of any of that. We heard her tell Ellie we shouldn't be voting out Mariah probably, but she went along with it. So it's like, can't bring her up too much. But we also heard her speak about how she wants to flip the game. She knows she needs to try to flip a vote. She spoke about last episode after she got blindsided with Ellie. She did a really, really good job at making the girls not want to vote her out last episode. So it's like that sucks. She also wouldn't have went home if Owen didn't win immunity, in my opinion. And I think that also shows okay, she wasn't going home, but she didn't do much. There's that. Cassidy, last time I gave Cassidy a 4. I feel similarly about Cassidy. I'm just gonna give her a 4 again. We didn't get much. What we do get from Cassidy sometimes is a very forward type of opinion about things.
Always.
But, she never gets what she wants necessarily. No, she actually never gets what she wants. And I think that shows that she has a lack of influence. Her social game does not seem good, necessarily good. I think it'll be hard for Cassidy to win because Cassidy doesn't seem respectable in the game because there's so many people she's working with and she's been working with for so long are just so much better players than her. It makes her seem like she's not doing shit herself, which I don't think is necessarily true. But I think that because of the situation she's in, she's fucked. You're working with Carla and James, and you have been all season. They're going to say Carla and James carried you. They're all going to say that. And I would say it too. No, I would literally, even if I knew they didn't, I would still say it. Like, girl, be for real. You didn't do nothing for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we don't get much from her, and I feel like it's because she's not doing much. She's really just part of the majority alliance. So I'm gonna keep it at a 4.5. I'm interested to see. I don't necessarily think she is going to be a target, but you never know. She's also a woman, and clearly, if you're a woman, girl, you automatically a target. So you never really know because she doesn't even have safety for just being under the radar or being that big of a threat. Girl, look at Janine, just went home. And I feel like they were in very similar positions, but she's just in the majority. So, and the thing is, it sucks because even if there is a flip and she's not part of that flip, which she could have been this round, she is then just going to be someone to discard from the other side. Unless she's able to make some big move in the next coming weeks, I'm definitely just going to keep bringing her down because, we're just not getting much. It really sucks. I don't know. Do you think she should have flipped back from wanting, because she said she didn't want Janine to go and she seemed really strongly about it, but we saw that she still voted her ass out. Do you think that she should have maybe just said fuck it, I'm flipping it regardless, or what? I guess we don't know the ins and out of how that, because they all ended up voting her out damn near. So it's clearly it was a big group decision, but she didn't pounce on that opportunity at all, it seems.
I think Cassidy's going to pounce later in the game, which is why I'm scared for her. I think she could become a target by her own mistakes. We've seen a little bit of that when Carla and James were like, she could call and go because she's acting crazy. I can see that coming back to bite her. And with this decision, I don't think it was smart for her to vote out Ryan. I think Cassidy's best in game is with the 7 because of the fact that Carla, James, Jesse, and Cody are all big threats, and that's 4 of the 7. Ryan is also seen as a threat. That's 5 of the 7, and Sammy's also in that 7. I think Cassidy's winning path could be to get all that 7 to hate each other, her to maybe take one person who's not in it, like Gabler, and try to get her Gabler making it to the end because they're all gonna. Well, if they're smart, they're gonna take each other out before they take her out. But I don't know, child. It doesn't seem like she has the savviness to do that so far. So we'll see. Cody is similar to Cassidy in the fact that I feel like in this alliance, he's kind of just someone's number. I feel like Cassidy is Carla and James' number, and I feel like Cody is just Jesse's number in this alliance. But Cody has a little bit more, I feel. First of all, he's a man, and Cassidy's a woman. So because he's a man, I feel like he has a better chance, more likelihood to win. He also has more likelihood to not go home. I feel.
Yeah, because
like people see women
this season hates women.
Yes, girl. So I feel like with Cody, I gave him a 4, similar to Cassidy. Honestly, I feel like it's not unfair. I feel like I don't know if it makes sense for me to give them the same score because I do feel like Cody just has a better chance. He possibly is going to get his idol back. Likely, he's probably going to get his idol back. Even if not, Jesse's probably going to use one of them on him willingly because one of them's his. Anyways, he also is a man, and for those, he simply just has an advantage. I don't know what to tell y'all, which sucks, and that's why, especially in this season, because we see what happens with women. They're seen as threats for no reason some of the time, and it's very annoying because it's hard for any minority group to not be seen as a threat very easily in these games. But in this season, we just see it with the women so specifically. But because of that male privilege, sometimes I rate these players based on the privilege they have. Cody has male privilege, so I'm gonna give him a 4.5. Like, I just feel like it's just true. He's a little more likely to win than her because he's a man. And at least I'm telling you the reason. It's an unfortunate reason, but hey.
Yeah, I was gonna move up on Cody as well. I just feel like the decision that you definitely tried to give to Jesse. He I feel like he had a big part, and he was one of the main people that was like, "Why the fuck are we just not doing Janine?" I'm confused, and who ended up still going home? Janine. So it's like I feel the same way about him that I felt about Gabler when Ellie went home, and it was kind of Gabler the main one pushing it. It's kind of like, well, damn, like I gotta put some respect in your name. Like you got someone out, and this is from people listening to you, listening to what you wanted in a way. So and I don't know. I just feel like a lot from what you mentioned, he does have that just normal male privilege, especially with this season because there's so many men left and all the women are just getting the fuck out. And I think Cody is one of those people who has pretty good connection. He does still have the idol. And he has someone like Jesse who, if Jesse somehow gets cut, then I can definitely see Cody getting kind of the bulk of what they did together as a pair, which would be really good for him as well. So, if I feel like I'm gonna say a 4.5 as well. Like moving forward, I would need to see a little bit more control with his game. But the closer he gets to the end, I do feel like he has some form of win equity. I think a lot of people would just have to go for him to get it.
How do you
he can't be in the end with a lot of specific people.
And how you feel about Gabler?
Gabler, we really not getting much from Gabler. I thought Gabler was going to come to merge, annoy everybody, and then basically get sent home because of that. And that's not happening here. People actually want to work with Gabler on things like both sides of the coin because Ryan's in the majority. He's talking about how much he likes Gabler and things like that. Gabler just really isn't a threat to people. Even though he won the individual immunity, people really don't see him as a threat. And like I said, I think the strongest thing about him is the story that he has. Like he's a huge fan of the game. He does understand it to some level, and we've been mentioning, this is a social season. I feel like socially he's doing pretty okay right now. I just think my qualms with Gabler in general is just that we've seen him not be strategically the best, and he's also not in the majority alliance at this time. I have to give him credit for getting that Ellie girl out, and then he won immunity 2 rounds in a row. But I think I'm gonna keep it at a 4, just because we're not getting too much from him, and I don't know what that really means for him moving forward. But I don't think that he is even going to be the immediate next target, to be honest.
Yeah, and I agree. Honestly, I was very low. I gave Gabriel a 1.5, then I gave him a 2.5. I'm gonna give him a 3.5. Honestly, he's just coming up on a come up. I feel like the reason I was giving him low scores, I didn't think he had a chance to win. I don't necessarily think that's the case anymore. He clearly has some type of social, capital because people do want to work with him. People are trying to bring him in on the vote, telling him about the vote. He's seen as more of a regular player than I kind of expected. I kind of expected people to see him as like, just the guy. Gabler is so funny because that's how they were portraying him in the earlier season. But I do feel like he's gaining respect. He won an immunity that gains you respect automatically, and I feel like since then he's kind of been treated a little bit less like an outcast, and that's helpful for his game. He could, so there's that. Next, we have Daddy James. James is
scaring me, to be honest.
He's scaring the fuck out of me. He's still eating it up, but and that's the thing. According to the edit, it's seeming like a Owen James situation could happen. It seemed like Owen could get James out, or James could just get Owen out, and it'll be kind of a little boring. And I feel like that is kind of annoying-ish because no shade to Owen, but I just feel like if Owen got James out, I'll be like, damn. Because I love James. I feel like James is one of the best players here. I feel like he's done very, very well at keeping himself from going home 2 rounds in a row. He was finna go home. Essentially, he was the one who stopped that from happening. This round, he's in a power position. He pushed Janine because even though Cody was the one who said it, James had the social capital to push it and make it happen. I'm pretty sure James is the one who got Janine out. James was also the one who got Dwight out, and James was also the one who got Ellie out. So James has honestly been one of the most driving forces to get each of these people out because of information he shared or the way he's presented it or what he's done. He's the one who got these people out. James is that girl. And honestly, I just have to give him an 8.5. I do, because I just tricked myself. I wasn't even going to give him an 8.5, and I just recalled that he is the reason all 3 of these people got out. Literally.
I think what's scaring me about James is that I feel like he is not managing his threat level that well anymore. I thought he was doing well. He's obviously good. That's the thing. I don't think he ever really necessarily managed the threat level. He was just good in adversity. But it's getting to the point where it's like we keep going episode after episode, and like someone is saying his name, and it's like I just don't. That scares me because it's like, will he be able to finesse his way all the way to final 3 with people kind of seeing him as some form of front runner? Like people mention him, I feel like consistently as being someone that could potentially needs to go. I mean, I will say in this time it is Owen, and Owen doesn't really have that much influence here, but it's just that like the fact that it's being said does just I don't know. It really does scare me with James, but I think for him, I'd say 7.5. I say 7.5. I want to go back up because I do feel like, now that this majority has kind of taken control in its way, I think he'll be good unless there's just a huge coup. But, it doesn't seem like anyone's going after the big dogs, and he's one of the big dogs. So I think he'll be good for a while. Yeah. Well, not a while because it's almost over, but a few more rounds.
And how do you feel about Daddy? I mean, Jesse.
I like Jesse a lot. Like the fact that, first of all, the fact that he has the 2 idols now. Well, the thing is, even if he gives it back to Cody, he controls it. So he got 2 idols, bitch.
So you saying he controlled Cody?
But I feel like I really like what I like about Jesse's game is that I feel like when we do see him being involved, it's always like he pushes his agenda and it always works out in the way it needs to. And it's like he does it in a way that's so behind the scenes, so under the radar. Like the fact that he even has the 2 idols in his possession comes to his social game, his behind the scene work. And it's like, I don't know. It's really good because even if the majority alliance does break up soon, I think he's in one of the better positions. No one's saying Jesse name. I think he's someone that people genuinely wants to work with. And he has the social game, he has the strategic game, and he has the fucking advantages too. So I just feel like, girl, it's an 8. It's an 8. I feel like it's definitely an 8 because, I feel like, especially a big difference between Jesse and James here. Jesse, James, period. Is that, like I said, I don't think James is necessarily handling his threat level that well, whereas Jesse, I don't think has any. Like, I don't think anyone's scared of Jesse, and he's also still playing a really good game. So,
and that's why he's a 9. So
a 9,
girl. Not only did my Patty, first of all,
you put him in wrong.
Oh, girl.
You so ready to give him the 9, girl. You can't even.
I didn't know who was getting him. He can give me 9 inches of that. So Jesse Long Dick, he is that girl because he got out Dwight. That was literally him. Also, he's been very.
You said James got out Dwight. Who got out Dwight?
Listen, James had James told Jesse the information for Jesse to get out Dwight. So I give a lot of credit to James and a lot of credit to Jesse. Don't play me, bitch. So Jesse was the driving force behind a lot of these votes. He was also the driving force of creating the seven. The seven that is now the majority was created by Jesse, actually, and I feel like that is in itself very powerful. He has two idols, very very powerful. He has Cody as a minion, no shade, very very powerful, and he clearly has one of the best relationships with Carla socially, at least, and I think that's very beneficial too. He also clearly has a good relationship with James because James told Jesse about the tea. He didn't tell other people about the tea. He told Jesse about the tea. And I feel like that shows that Jesse has great relationships within this seven. I feel like the core of the seven is Carla, James, Jesse, and Cody. And Jesse is one of the best positioned in that. Him and Carla, I feel, and James. But him, he's one of them. And I feel like that's very beneficial. And like you said, his threat level is just not there. So if it comes to taking the girls out, people are going to take out James and maybe even Ryan, I feel like before Jesse and before Carla also, which we'll get to soon. And I feel like that's just enough for me to give him that 9. I feel like he's just set up very well. I feel like he's played very well. I feel like he'll get respect at the end. He has 2 idols. He's not been said by anybody's name. I don't see many flaws, so it's hard for me not to give him a very high score. Because why am I knocking him a point for? Like, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But there's that. And let's just slide into Carla because they're in very, very similar positions. Similar to Jesse, Carla also has those 3 connections. The reason I put Jesse above Carla and James is because of Cody. I feel like Jesse, in a way, I can see Jesse and James voting out Carla together. I can see Jesse and Carla voting out James together. So Jesse has those options, but Carla doesn't necessarily have that Cody option. She only has James and maybe Jesse. And she's willing to let Ryan go a little bit. Oh, but she does have Cassidy. See, that's where Carla.
But how much does Cassidy really help?
And that's the thing. Cassidy has been edited as not helpful. I think Cody has been very much so edited as someone who's helpful, and Cody has an idol, and Cody gave Jesse the idol, and all this other stuff. That's why I feel like Carla just isn't in the same position as Jesse, but is similarly not a threat. Also, similarly in this majority alliance, and everyone goes to her about all of her information. I feel like she'll easily get respect from the jury. And she's also a woman, which puts her a little bit low too, because it's hard for people to respect women or to not see them as threats. I can see at the end them thinking Carla's a threat before Jesse. And it's like, oh, now Carla has to go. And it's like, fuck. So I'm going to give her 8.5. Leave it at that.
I think I'm going to give her a 7.5 as well. Just because, and honestly, a lot of it for me this episode was her willingness to want to get Ryan out initially. Like, that really did just confuse me. And you kind of spoke on it a little bit too. Like, it's just, personally, even with Cassidy, as an ally of hers, I feel like that's solely loyal to her in that way. It's like she really does not have that connection that is, I think, putting her above the other people in her alliance, and I think that's another issue with this season too. Like, no one is trying to get one over. I feel of another person. They're all just okay with staying at this level, and it's like, girl, can you win next to James? Can you win next to Jesse? Like, where are these moves? Where are the structure that you have that's going to get you to the end? I feel like that's what I said pre-merge about Carla. Like, when is Carla going to start making those, I feel like, just solid decisions that are for her game that are just going to get her to the end? A lot of people go to her with their thoughts and the strategies and things like that. You know, a lot of people come to her with information, but we never see, I feel like, her pushing her own agenda. And she doesn't necessarily have to. Not everyone has to play that game. It's just, if I'm not saying she has to get out James. I'm not saying she has to get out Jesse, but if she wants a fair shot of winning, she probably have to get them out at some point. You know, I don't think she's necessarily set up the best socially out of the 3, and they're the 3 front runners. You know, so it's just like, I don't know. But yes, 7.5. I think it honestly it'd probably be an 8 if she wasn't so gung-ho about the Ryan thing. The Ryan thing really just made me be like, what?
Yeah,
that's a number for you, babe. Like, I didn't see it, but hey, she's still in it. She's still one of the main girls. Love to see it.
Sure. Last week I gave Noelle a 3.5, and this week I'm going to give Noelle a 3. I feel like she's just not, and 3 is generous. Hold up. Okay, I can give her a 3. I didn't give nobody else 3. Who is Noelle? Like, what's Noelle doing? No offense.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's in the minority. Even in the minority, when it was Janine, Owen, and Noelle talking, I was like, oh, okay, Owen has a chance, Janine has a chance. And Noelle is there. Like, I just doesn't, I don't, we'll see. Like, I just don't think she's gonna make it far. I think even if she makes it far, she's probably just gonna get cut. I think even if she doesn't get cut, she's not gonna necessarily get the votes. I don't see Noelle being able to necessarily sell her game because she isn't viewing her game in a strategic way, I feel, based
Yep.
on what we see. So I just have to give her the 3 and I guess hope for the best for her.
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna have to agree with that. Now that the lines are drawn and she's very clearly on the other side, I just don't see her being able to even capitalize if they were able to flip. Like if they were able to flip some numbers and get some people, like I don't see her being able to capitalize on that well enough. Like she's just honestly, socially, strategically, just not all the way there. Now she does have that still a vote, and I can see how she could be used moving forward to help her out. But I think she would mainly just get used in that situation. I don't see Noelle being the person to be like, hey, this is my still vote. I'm gonna make this move to get myself further. If she does, kudos to her. She's gonna get the points for it. But it's just like she hasn't proven that she can be able to do that. She hasn't proven that she's not gonna be anything else but used for that advantage. So it gotta be a 3.
Wait a minute.
What, girl?
Y'all in a 6-5 minority and you have a still a vote. What happened? Why was the still a vote not mentioned this entire episode when it was 5 of them and it was 6 of them and they needed what? 2.5.
Not 2.5.
Why was it still a vote not mentioned? If you can answer the question, I'll give her a 3. You can't. Well, Owen's not gagging me. I gave him a 5. Honestly, and I'm gonna be dead ass with y'all. I gave him a 5 off of pure edit. They've edited him as someone who is strategic, and that was why I gave him a 5. I was like, oh, he has a strategic mind. He clearly thinks this way. We see it, but that's not fair because they're showing us Owen say strategic things. Maybe Ryan says strategic things and they don't show it. So it's like I'm giving him a 5 based off the edit, and after this episode, I just can't do that any longer. I'm gonna give Owen hold on. I'll give him a 4. I feel like he has a energy to him that is respectable, which is very biased. Honestly, it's based off of similar things as Cody. He's privileged because he's a man. I feel like there is a bias of a lot of things. His reservedness, I feel, might make him seem not even just his reservedness. I feel like his personality might make him seem like such a smart player and da da da. Especially if he speaks in a speech. So I think he has a chance to win more likely than anyone else in this minority. But I don't necessarily think he has done anything. And I don't think he has shown that he has the capability to do anything. He won an immunity that's cute. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna give him a 4.5. Just because, and honestly, the 0.5 is a little bit because of the edgic, because like you kind of mentioned it, like honestly, like we haven't seen anything that says that Owen is going to start doing well, that he has capability of doing well. We just know from the edgic that he's obviously liked by production because we see him a lot, and usually people who get shown a lot, especially when they're not doing the best, it's pretty important. They're probably likely going to be towards that end because there's no real reason to show Owen because things barely go his way. I think this episode was important because he did get the immunity, but it's like the overarching, I feel like, background we have on him does not match what we see in the game. I just feel like honestly it's a 4.5 because I think he's had a chance to win. And it's not even based on what we've seen. It is really mainly based on edging. But I do think he is smart enough to where, like, if they were able to get majority this round, I'd be much higher on Owen. The fact that he's still a minority at this point, it does scare me a little bit. But I think he does have I think he has the knowledge to do well, especially in the end game situation. And it doesn't seem like I think he'll be able to squeeze his way to an end game. I honestly do. So we'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Ryan, I feel similarly to Ryan as I do about Noelle, kind of. Ryan was almost going home this episode, and from his allies wanting to vote him out, basically for no reason. He has shown very little like actual strategy. He's clearly not socially in a good position within this tribe at all, and he hasn't done anything to improve that. He thinks he's in a great position, and I feel like all of those things are kind of negative. I feel like if this minority gets a chance to get the majority, Ryan probably will be the person who goes home because of that, and that's not good either. I'm going to give him a 3. It's not much else to say.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be a 3. Like it's to me, it's so shocking that he's even being considered as one of the bigger threats because, like I said, he really hasn't shown to be anything of actual fear, in my opinion. Like I do not think I would be scared of Ryan, and the fact that, like you said, his own allies are pushing for it. It's just like it just shows how far beyond, so far, how far behind he has been in this game. Like it doesn't make any sense that. It makes no sense that Ryan was a target here. Like people are saying, oh, he could potentially win immunities when he hasn't even won any. So it's just like if he's a target without playing the game, child, imagine if he started playing. I mean, it gotta be a 3. It's like it really sucks because Ryan, such a pretty face, such a pretty face.
And that's all. No shade. How do you feel about Sammy?
So yeah, I really like Sammy a lot. I feel like, strategically, he's one of the more fun players to watch this season. Anytime Sammy gets a diary room, it's always, I feel like, really dynamic because he's coming here with an opinion that is totally different, I feel like, from what we're seeing at the status quo. Because even him, I feel like he portrays a different Sammy in the diary room to us than he does in the actual field. I was really prepared to come in here and give Sammy the highest score of the night because I thought he was going to get his way and flip the majority on its head, but that did not happen. And it makes me look into the edit. That's why I said I feel like the edit was just set up to really make us get confused and maybe think Janine wasn't going to go home because the way that we saw Sammy set up this whole thing to flip the vote on Ryan and get Ryan to go home and for it to be an overwhelming majority for Janine to go, it's just like, did he really ever have any power or influence here? It seems like as soon as James and then made a decision, that was the goddamn decision. And that scares me because Sammy, he's playing this game where people think he's dumb. They're going to want to bring him along. I think he's like, even like the way he's playing, if this majority breaks up, he's going to be in a good position regardless. I think he's able to skate to the end. But my fear with him is that is he going to be able to garner that respect? I think he's great socially. And with this season being a social season, he may just win off of that. He could just win off being the most loved. But it's like similar to I said about Carla. It's like you're going to be there with a Jesse maybe, with James, with Carla. It's like because he's now in a position to where he set himself up to be someone that can be used and kind of on the not so smart side, and people want to bring him in, is in the point where like he can't make these moves himself, and the numbers are dwindling. Janine just went. That's one of his numbers, and there's not going to be much room to flip again. Now that homegirl gonna have to vote. You never really know what's going to happen, but it's just like I don't know. Sammy, we've seen with Sammy that he has a lot of these moments that are strategic, that he's realizing what's happening in the game. He's realizing the connections, who's with who. But then when he speaks about, oh, he's going to go do something, it kind of just flames out. I mean, even the Ellie thing, he built up kind of this target on Ellie. And then it was Gabler spilling it at the feast that got her went home. They came to him with the information. He was like, oh, well, yeah, Ellie gotta go. I think he signed off on it, but he didn't do it. You know what I mean? And this was, I think this was the move to turn the game and really get that power in control, and he didn't take it. So that scares me. I think I'm gonna just say a 5 because he's in a great position. I think he's in a great position because he's someone that people want to bring in and people are probably gonna take far. But I think the fact that he did set it all the way up and failed in the way he did makes me want to bring it down because it's like, damn, nigga, like. Because this is the game you want to play. You tried, and it didn't work.
Yeah, like Sammy said, this is the chance for good players to survive and great players to thrive. And like we said earlier, all he did was survive. So that's good. And what else? And I feel like with the strategy, the use me strategy is risky because the use me strategy makes you less appealing to a jury. You do not want to vote for someone who looks like they just got used all season unless you take a very, very stern, sharp turn and you very sharply start backstabbing everybody. He would have to, near the end of the game, take out like a bunch of people who he's close with and make it seem like he's played the game. If he doesn't do that, which can he even do that if he tried? I don't think he can win the game. And I feel like that's kind of what's going to set him back a little bit is that he's younger and he's also opting in to use the I'm weak strategy. I feel like that's going to come back to bite him a little bit. If he tries to make a move, it's going to be hard because people don't necessarily respect or value your opinion because you don't want them to necessarily. And then if you succeed in the move, that's going to be the only way for you to actually get votes at the end. But if you succeed, won't you just get out the next week? Like, it's going to be hard for him because he's stuck in a position where he doesn't have many numbers. No one in this majority gives a fuck about Sammy. Owen doesn't even necessarily care about Sammy, and neither does Gabler. So it's like he doesn't really have numbers. So I feel like, ooh, I'm gonna keep him at the 5.5 for now, and then we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, y'all. I don't know. I feel like sorry if the energy just was not here this podcast. I just like
right.
It's the next episode. It's a double elimination, and we're gonna be into the top 8. I feel like it's gonna pick up from there. It's definitely gonna pick up pretty quickly because the finale is like 5 people, damn near. So we're wrapping up pretty quickly, but it's just like because that, like I said, I mean, look at the last 3 people: Ellie, Dwight, Janine. I mean, no shade. I didn't think none of them could win for real. Or Dwight maybe, but are we shocked? No.
This is hilarious. Okay, so the first place spot has traded from James to Carla to Jesse. So those 3 have been in top 3 this whole time. We've just switched back and forth. At first, we had James won, Carla was one last episode, and Jesse's won this episode. So that shows, I feel like, how kind of even they are on a gameplay playing field. It's really up in the air of the 3. If they're the final 3, my pussy would drop. But
that would be the best thing this season. That would be a nasty final 3.
That would be a nasty final 3. So that would be nice. But I don't know. Sammy has been 4th for a while, and he's still 4th. After him, it's been Owen. Owen and Sammy have been in top 5, but Owen has dropped after this episode, and Cody and Cassidy have kind of picked up because we see that the 7 has solidified. So because the 7 has solidified, Owen's not in the 7. He's right after the 7. And then at the bottom, we have Noelle, Ryan, and Gabler. It's giving what can they do? And we'll see how we move from here, y'all. Let's get into these motherfucking drafts early. So for the drafts, y'all, my team still has the winners. Still has the it girls. And Lee's team has Owen.
Owen and Sammy. I feel like I will say after Sammy's performance this episode, I don't know if he necessarily wins. Just because I just think that wasn't like, if he was the winner of this season, like that moment wouldn't have turned out the way it did. Like that was a really big fail for him, especially the way he talked up the move. So I don't know, but my money's still on Owen. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's no coincidence that we keep seeing that man so much, and his game has been not the best. Like I said, no shame.
I was kind of hoping because I don't think he's playing necessarily the best game, so I don't want him to win. Also hoping because Lee has him on the draft that his edit is being hyped up so that the winner can take him out. That's what we saw with Omer and Marianne a little bit. But it only worked in Omer and Marianne's situation because Marianne isn't the most strategic. So they needed to give her her gots, when it came to the win. And they did by hyping up Omer. And this season, I don't think that makes sense because if he gets out, it's probably James, Jesse, or Harlan. It's like we didn't need Owen to be the one they got out unless they really are trying to harp on that in the new era because they kind of gave Erica credit for getting out Shan. They gave Marianne credit for getting out Omer. So maybe the new editing style is to hype up a player, and then the person who gets them out is likely going to be the winner.
I don't think. If anything, it's going to be him getting out.
Which could also happen. I'm hoping it's not because I don't want the big 3 to go. I don't want him to win. He's not playing the best. And it's not typical. Usually before diversity and inclusion, I didn't care that the best winner won. I cared that the person I was rooting for won because we had such a lack of diversity. Now that there's diversity, I want the best winner to win. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Because it still has its unfair situations and it still has its biases, but it's way less than it was. So that's why it's kind of like now I'm just okay with the best winner winning, especially because the 3 best people are my POC anyways. So it's like, fuck it. But y'all, I'm finna win this draft. I know that's the fuck right.
The first, and how many?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Years,
it doesn't matter. If you get a new car, you don't say this is
the
last car you've had in 22 years.
I just want everyone to know the last draft that Pharaoh won was Big Brother 21 with Jackson. That's his last win, y'all.
He's saying, whatever, y'all. Because Lee's mad that he's gonna lose.
What year was that? What was Big Brother 21? That was like
we out. I know that's